Hello everyone, Lindsay here. So day 2 of the lessons that I learned from 2020. So as I mentioned in day 1, I take the first few weeks of the new year to really reflect on the lessons I was meant to learn from the previous year instead of just hitting the ground running. I think reflection is essential so that we really understand the lessons we were meant to learn and what is it that we really want in the new year. There's so much movement around the beginning of a year or the end of a year. December is packed full of activity, and it takes some time for that dust to settle. And I take the first few weeks of the first month of the year to get still, quiet, and really reflect. And it is in that reflection that more insights come, and I get much more clear on how I want my new year to be. So as I've been reflecting on the year 2020, I've been realizing, like, yes, there's a lot of lessons collectively, but I'm sharing with you my personal, my very personal lessons that I learned. And the second one that I want to share with you today, I pull this from the 7 principles of nature. And these 7 principles of nature really show how we can learn from nature. And the first one was adaptation, our ability to adapt to changing circumstances. And if we are unable to adapt to a changing circumstance, think about this in nature. If anything in nature cannot adapt, it will die. It will not survive. And so when we resist adapting to changing circumstances, it feels almost like we're dying, or we feel this overwhelm of grief and emotion and stress and fear. But if we can really relax into a situation, look at it from a broader perspective, we can adapt more readily to those changing circumstances. So my lesson was to be able to adapt very quickly. And as I mentioned in my previous, for day 1's lesson, that practice is essential, because I've been practicing meditation and breathing and yoga nidra for over a decade. It gave me this ability to adapt and pivot with a little bit more ease. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it gives you the ability, the stronger foundation to be able to adapt. And so there are a lot of adaptations that I had to work through. And I moved in with my beloved right at the beginning of the pandemic, because we decided we didn't want to be apart when they were talking about a quarantine. We didn't know what a quarantine was or what the restrictions around that were going to be. All we knew is that we didn't want to be apart. So we took that chance. Let's go ahead and do this. And it happened very quickly. We decided on a Thursday, moved in on a Saturday, and everything was great. Well, there's always bumps in the roads, but in the roads. And I want to make it sound like that was perfect, but there was a lot of adaptations that had to happen when you move in, when you join 2 households together. And then I had to adapt my business. Many of you can relate to starting to work from home. I had to let go of my office. I had to let go of a lot of plans that I had for the beginning of the year. I actually had to change the direction of my work. I felt in many ways that I was starting over, which is not true, because everything that you've ever done up until the point where you are in this moment has been giving you the information you need to be able to adapt and move in a different direction. So you're learning a lot to carry with you as you adapt. So I would love to hear from you. Does this resonate with you? How have you had to adapt and this past year? And how has this ability to adapt and the changes that you've made going to support you in this coming year? And so a lot of the adaptations that I had to make are going to definitely support me coming into the new year and support a new vision for myself. So I hope you find this useful, and I really would love to hear some of your lessons that you learned in 2020. And remember that when we learn the lessons, when we really learn them and integrate those lessons, then what happens is we don't have to repeat that lesson. We don't have to go back to the classroom, okay? So I think a lot of us don't want to go back to 2020 classroom, but we want to learn those lessons and carry them forward. Okay, my friends, take care, and until tomorrow, many blessings.